Yeah.
Hey, are you a fan of YouTube? Have something to share or discuss with other voice artists? Then the new VOTubi is for you.
When I wake up every day, I get on YouTube and check the front page. I scroll, and what do I see? Oh, what a surprise.
We now offer an open mic style live show every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube video show. VOTubi is a live YouTube video meetup every Friday. Call in, Zoom in, email, or text your question, or just watch and learn from participants' viewpoints. Panelists include feature contributors and voice talent like you. We'll discuss topics faced by every level of voiceover talent. Join us and catch VOTubi Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. VO Radio, it's here for you.
Welcome to Let's Talk VO, live here on VO Radio. Interact with us by texting 970-682-3424. That's 970-682-3424. Or use the Ask a Question button located on your radio player window. You can also email us using the icon on the apps. Now, it's time for Let's Talk VO on VO Radio.
All right.
Beth, you're muted.
You're live, our best
You
endings
veteran
live
voice
radio.
talent. You veteron.
I love she still doesn't know. Beth, you are muted.
I'm
Beautiful.
sitting here saying I'm muted. I can't believe it.
Oh, you guys just do that to make all of us feel better, right?
Oh, it's those board ops. They
I
should be
still need a
paid more.
t-shirt that says, yes, I know I'm muted. Give me a sec. Welcome, everybody. It's Monday. I was so excited that this is our first live on camera. Like, we're here, we're real, and we're excited to be here with you. I'm here today with the one and only Anthony.
The one and only. Thank you very much. We can go now.
That was the best introductory yet.
That was so good. That was so
Anthony
good.
Reese, Chef Deb Monroe, VO Chef Deb Monroe, Stacy Barrow, top of mind, and Peter Drew, hot mic, if I'm not mistaken.
You are
That's
correct.
right.
Yay, I did it right.
Somebody
Listen,
did their homework.
You're
we-
good. I can't remember them all for everybody.
I will
Okay.
fail.
Ask me again in 5, okay? How do you get a hold of us? That's super easy. You text us 970-682-3424. You can go to the Zoom video link. You can call in. You can ask and record questions on the button. We have an info icon. You can then email through the app. You can email us at ask@voradioonline.com. Go to the website, find us, ask us questions. You'll hear some of the questions from listeners today. Later we have a contest. We have Who's That Voice? So have a listen later on. We've had some fabulous winners. We'll play it today, Wednesday, and again on Friday, and then we'll see who wins that one. I know you're saying that I gotta move this over. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. And we couldn't do it without our sponsors. The VoiceOver Resource Guide, the VoiceOver Collective, and of course, Nava. We are so excited to have you here. We're going to talk VO today. Anthony, take it away.
Very good. You got to give it to Bev. She hasn't many openings. That was the very first. So now she's an official opener. Yes, if you heard correctly, we're simulcasting for the very first time live over the platform. So live over your apps, live over the online players built into the radio station, I almost said. See, I'm going back to past, even over the voradioonline.com website, and also live on camera. Hi, everybody out there in camera land, over YouTube and on our channel over YouTube. So you can hear us, you can see us, you can be part of the program, you can call in, you can zoom in. Like we get a couple people waiting in the actual waiting room right now to come in. We're going to let them in a minute here. And meanwhile, let's go ahead and get things rolling.
You're listening to VO Radio. The views, opinions, and insights shared are not necessarily those of other panelists, guests, and contributors on VO Radio and its broadcast programs. Advice, tips, opinions, and legal suggestions are based on industry experience of the individual co-host, panelist, guest, or contributor. These opinions and comments are not endorsed by or verified by VO Radio and its operators. Listener discretion is advised.
The best music ever made.
If you're like most voice talent today, you're wondering various things relating to your voiceover career. Well, VO Radio has your answers. Here's more questions answered by our panelists live on Let's Talk VO here on VO Radio.
Listen and learn. Internet radio for the voice artists, just like you.
You're still muted, Bev. I love you. You're so adorable when you're muted. I don't know. That's all anybody can do to shut me up.
Good thing I'm on camera because, so what I said at the top of the show, you can send in questions and we want to hear your questions. And we have one for today from Amy in North Carolina. Do I ask it now or is there another sweeper? We're good. You're muted.
No, we can't hear you, Anthony. This is a great first.
Yeah, you can ask your question. We're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Amy from North Carolina wants, and this is actually a really great question. She's in her 3rd year, and she says, when is a good time to increase her voiceover rates? So that she's obviously established. She's been here a couple of times. She knows what she's doing. Deb, what would you like to add to that?
Well, I think that becomes a fairly easy choice or decision to make because what happens is you get, first of all, too busy. You start recognizing, oh, I'm too busy for this now. I actually am not able to fulfill that time slot, that turnaround for that little of amount. I have to now justify my time. And that's usually how we end up learning that curveball. Because I remember in the beginning going, oh, I don't know what to charge. There was no such thing as online rates. And I was so scared to charge anything. But then as I started learning the industry more, so 3 years in, you've learned some things. Hopefully you've seen some average rate guides. Now what you can do is feel confident that you can add a little bit. I do caution though, maybe I'm wrong to say this, but my agent I gave a job to my agent. I got a job voicing 5 TV stations. And I gave it to my agent. I got the job on my own, but I wanted them to handle it. So they did. And they incremented my rate every year. So every year I got a raise like a lot of people would in normal jobs. But I also think there can be times when you start giving the raise so much, especially for broadcast stations, where you might outrate yourself too. So there is that fine line is all I just want to add to that. But it's kind of like Mexico. If they let you walk out the door, okay, maybe that was a little much. Just go back down a little bit if you need to.
That's funny.
That's perfect. Anthony, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to quickly welcome Steve Orr. Looks like he's joined us here on Zoom Live. And Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Welcome back. We love having you. And it looks like Pamela from Canadian Tired, wherever that is. So Pamela, Steve, Tracy, thank you for joining in on our live Zoom. We're holding every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now via the Let's Talk VO platform and also VO Tubi on our YouTube channel. I think what I would like to throw in quickly, my 1 cent worth is it depends a lot where you're at your point in your career, in your journey. If you're a beginner talent, you probably want to, I hate to say this because a lot of people look at it like that, work for food. You're basically willing to go with whatever you can do without necessarily going completely to the point of where you're feeding what we call a bottom feeder, or you're low doing and ruining the valuation of the industry. But when you're a voiceover talent just starting out, you probably want to think about what is your budget? What am I trying to realistically make an hour at this point, starting my career? And as you progress in your career, you get more credits, you get more experience, get more clientele, and you start to become a newbie beginner to intermediate a year or two in, then you can consider adjusting your rates a little bit more. You'll have an understanding of what your productivity output is. You'll have a better understanding of how many finished minutes you can put up in an hour of your time labor-wise. And that gives you an idea of how many minutes a final product you can put out an hour helps you arrive at mathematically what your rate should be per hour for you. Some people can put out a lot more minutes per hour. Others take an hour, 2 hours to put out 15 minutes of finished minutes. So it takes them twice as long to do a job. So it's a lot of mathematical formula that goes in that. But along the way, you'll figure it out. You try to stick with the GVAA work rate sheet we're all trying to adhere to. But when you're first starting out, you kind of want to work with whatever you can get your hands on. But as you progress, you want to definitely consider maybe a year or two in, look at, okay, maybe I increase my rate a little bit. Maybe do a little bit more in good faith, and then maybe adjust my rates a little bit more, do a little bit more in good faith, but discounted rate, and then slowly work your way up to where you're getting what you should be getting as a voice of talent about a year or 2 or 3, maybe. That's kind of my thoughts. Anybody else want to share a thought on that, Bev or
Stacey
Stacey?
does, but I just want to throw in, you mentioned the GVA rate guide. They have a guide, and let's just say it's $200 to $400. If you're new, you charge the $200 if you're not confident.
Good point.
If you feel you've done the training, you've got the equipment, why aren't you charging $250?
Yeah,
Why
minimum, right?
something like that. But I just want to throw that in. Stacey, you have thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I do have thoughts. I think it was Karen Clark from our station, another contributor of ours. She said this and it hit home. Oh my gosh, it might have been you though, Bev. So, okay, when I say it, it's a great saying though, and it always resonates with me. The cheapest isn't always the best, and the best isn't always the cheapest. And it's
By many.
true. It's pretty generic, but it really holds a lot of weight. I'm in my 4th year. I've done a lot of collaborating where I've done a lot of things where I didn't charge. I've done a lot of things where I did charge. And for the first couple of years, my rates were a little bit all over the place, depending what it was, because I really wanted to do the job. But at this point, also, I have to remember that if I'm saying that I'm going to do something and it's the scope of a project XYZ, and I'm only charging $50, they're going to look at me and think something's wrong. They're going to be like, oh,
Right.
there's
paid for, right?
yeah, there's a perceived value in your talent and your experience also by what you're charging. And yeah, like they said too, it's good to know what the rate guide says, just to be aware if you're way off and everything. But remember your value and not to sell yourself
Nice.
too cheap.
Exactly. Peter, do you want to add to this, please?
Yeah, it's very often that, I don't know what your experiences are, but when you lowball or you go for the lower rate, sometimes those clients are the most demanding. You end up working with clients who want a low rate, and then they want everything from you, and you're missing on other opportunities, or you have to put something aside to do their job, and you're not getting the money. So it depends on where you are. As Anthony said, that if you get into this a little more, you're more experienced, get those rates up so you're not the lowball kind of person, and they're not going to take advantage of you. They look at you.
Wow.
He's going to do it for $50. I'll ask him to do a little bit more and a little bit more. And he keeps giving it to me for $50. That
Try
kind
to
of
milk
thing.
him more, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to try and
I have
milk
a
him.
I have a great secret to share with everybody. Think of, I'm not saying it's my own secret. Think of putting it back in the client's perspective or the client's pocket, actually, by saying, how much do you value your project?
Nice.
Because I put a great deal of value into your project. So I feel it's worth this because I think you deserve the best. So just think of putting it back on them in that. It doesn't always work, but it's worked for me a lot.
Let them consider what their worth of the project is and what
We'll
the
just
worth
make
of
them
the
realize
brand
they're
and the
not
client
valuing
is.
it.
That's
Sorry,
right.
Anthony.
Well
Sorry, I
I
said.
love
didn't-
that. I love that.
Yeah. I hope that
You're
answers
just
your
showing them
question.
indirectly without being rude, without accusing them of something. You're actually making them think, oh, yeah, how much am I valuing this
That's right.
project? Is it
Well
a,
said.
quickie, or is it something worth something?
Well said. Hey, Bev, how about if we go to Pamela or Steve or Tracy if they want to give us a little bit of feedback into it?
You have anything else to add, guys? Just unmute yourself. You're not on camera down at the bottom there, Tracy.
Basically, you just have to keep it simple. Go with your gut. And with regard to, you know how to deal with people. You know how to be a good person. You know how, if you trust yourself, if you have confidence, in your abilities, and you know your worth, and you trust yourself to be able to navigate through this incredibly vast and sometimes overwhelming voiceover world, because you can get lost in the weeds if you don't trust yourself. You have to trust, you have to believe that you're supposed to be here, take it seriously. Also, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. Take in the expertise of those who have been in the business, in the industry longer than you have. So don't always think you have the right answer, and definitely defer to the people who are in your circle, who are looking out for the best for you. And you will be able to find any solution. I mean, this is not rocket science.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people, because it isn't rocket science, they don't give it the respect that it deserves, because
Right.
we all are at our level of craft. And it's just sometimes people take us for granted or don't give us the benefit that we deserve. And so sometimes having it fly back into their face in a manner of speaking. Basically, you say everything without saying a thing, without saying a word.
Politely, like Deb was just saying a few minutes ago, throw it back at them, let them decide how much you think your project and your client is worth, because that's what I basically bring to the table, is slam and dunk the worth of the project overall. Steve, what's your thoughts, Steve? Welcome, man.
Yeah, thank you. Long-time listener on the app, and then now first time. It's actually because of Bev, a fellow Canadian, that posted. I was like, I can come live to this thing. I'm like, this is great.
You gotta be quick, so we gotta get on. There's more questions.
So sorry. So what it was my mom she was from the Caribbean, and she used to do this very funny accent when she would say this saying, which is, good things ain't cheap, cheap things ain't good. So, it gives that perception.
Say that again. I want to make sure everybody heard that. Say that again.
Good things aren't cheap, cheap things aren't good.
I like that. That's good.
I think the bottom line is you have to take with all the information here, do what's right for you. If you've done the training, you're getting better, feel free to use this opportunity to reach out to repeat clients and say, hey, the new year's upon us, and I just want to let you know my rates have gone up ever so slightly because they do. Everything costs more. The internet, explain it to them. Everything I do costs money, and I need to keep up. But keep your rates, you say that they're still within industry standards. If you're on online casting, many people say, bid in the middle. Don't bid, so feel free to bid in the middle, and that gives you play for room for negotiations as well. Good luck. It's always a discussion, and there's no right or wrong. It's just, but keep your rates up, at least in the industry standards. That would be what I'd have to say. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
This week's Nava News Minute is brought to you by
The darkest hour when the night unfolds, I'm a lioness ready to take control.
Hi, I'm Bev Standing, a voice actor in Canada, and I started my journey in the VO world in 2008 and have not looked back.
No one can hold me down.
If you want to talk to me personally about coaching, just message me at bev@bevstanding.com. Or you can contact me through my website, bevstanding.com.
No second guessing.
Hey everybody, NAVA President Tim Friedlander here with your NAVA News Minute update. The SAG-AFTRA interactive strike is still making progress with AI protections in video games, and NAVA was excited to host a live town hall with some of the members of the Interactive Agreement Negotiating Committee. If you want to rewatch the town hall to learn more about the video game strike, you can do so on our website at navavoices.org under the Resources tab. NAVA debuted a new Best Practices for Kids in VO page this month, which includes resources for parents and a new contract writer just for minors. We are so excited to be a part of VO Atlanta this year, and we'll be hosting a special NAVA panel. Check out all the classes taught by our amazing board members, and visit us at our sponsor table all weekend long. We're also thrilled to announce that we awarded 5 VO Atlanta scholarships this year. Special thanks to Joe Zija and Jennifer Sunbell for donating 2 of those scholarships. And finally, we're continuing to make headway on AI legislation at the state and federal levels. Thank you to everyone for all your support. To find out more info on NAVA, visit our website at navavoices.org. Thanks a lot.
Somebody has to be the best in the business.
Elevate your voice with NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors. As a nonprofit association, NAVA is dedicated to the advocacy and protection of all our voices and for championing the equitable advancement of the voice acting industry. Visit the website at navavoices.org today. NAVA, together they can protect the future of voice acting and make our voices heard. Your voiceover career is dynamic and moving fast, and market trends for voice actors are constantly changing. So having the right resources to stay on top of your game is critical to your success. That's why VO pros and newcomers alike rely on VoiceOverXtra.com daily as their one-stop resource for voiceover success. Cut through the social media noise and find the information you need fast at VoiceOverXtra.com. It's the right resource for you now.
It's officially fall, y'all, and that means the new fall-winter issue of the VoiceOver Resource Guide is out now. Issue number 78, we've created a fully updated special video game strike edition of the Vorg for you. 3 pages dedicated to strike info. So get yours today at one of our pickup locations near you, or head to thevorg.net. Get one shipped out, and we'll plant a tree when you do. How nice is that?
Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. Interact with the show by texting 970-682-3424 or email your question to the show using the app email icon, radio player window, ask a question button, or send an email to ask@voradioonline.com. Let's Talk VO Live on VO Radio. It's here for you.
I'm still on the other song. Fever! Okay, just kidding. I just love that song. I just gotta get down that beat. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Voiceland. Everything VO here at VO Radio on Let's Talk VO. Thanks so much for joining us. You know what? We even have some of you guys joining us in the Zoom room, which is now live on camera. So it's great to see me make an ass of myself. And that's wonderful. And now, that means I have to realize how much I probably can't sit still, but that's okay. I will get used to that. Anyway, guys, welcome back and welcome to the Zoom room. So you guys can join us each week on Wednesdays, Mondays, and on Fridays. I don't know why I said it all backwards, but that's what I did. You guys can join us in the Zoom room and be a part of our show. So we encourage you guys to do that. All you guys have to do is look on the apps or on the website, and it shows you how to dial in with us, and you can join us as well. Just like we have today, Tracy, Steve, and Pamela. Tracy, you're Canada. Yeah, all from Canada, I might add, Bev.
Hells yeah.
Nice word. I'm just saying
Represent.
Canada is getting around. We are almost the majority today. That's almost a first. Wow.
I think we're taking over.
Anyway. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you to all our sponsors, of course, and everybody else. We also have the Audition Underground coming up, so be prepared for that. Today, we get to listen to your audition. A great way for you to participate. You guys, all you have to do is, again, go on that app or that website, go into the listener section. You'll see the participate, and you'll see the Audition Underground there. You just get to audition for us. That's it. And then we're going to critique it. We try to be as gentle. I try to be as gentle as I can. The rest of them are vultures. Yeah, I know. I can't help it. I try to hold them back, but it's hard. But what can I say? Anyway, stay tuned for that, guys. We've got that coming up. But now we're going to open up the listener email bag. I can't wait to hear what's inside today.
Okay, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take one that just came in, and it's from Teresa. And Teresa wants to know, you guys are talking about race. Are there different rates for the different genres? And if so, can you give us an idea of how do we judge a rate compared to other rates in that genre? That's kind of a hard one to go for.
Yeah, their rates are all over the place, right? The rates are all over the place. And that goes both for union, non-union. That goes for whether it's animation, gaming, that whether goes for whether it's local or national or regional. It goes whether it's international. Distribution is what you have to understand. And so you think of things like narration. Narration doesn't have a financial return typically, other than a financial gain of not having to repeat things a million times. Corporate narration, e-learning and stuff like that. And so because it doesn't have that, it has a lesser pay scale category in a sense, because it doesn't have that distribution or buyout that we like to get. So there is some base rates, but every single industry does charge a little bit differently. And then when you explore outside of the America world, then you see countries that do it by the minute or by the hour, and everything is all in one pool. I certainly don't believe in that and beg no one to believe in that. And it's a hard model that I know they're working really hard to bring here. So try not to support that model because it is not the same. It's really important you understand much more. I don't want to take up everybody's time. Peter, what do you think?
Excuse me. I was going to, now the point, I was listening so carefully to what you were saying. Oh, about the international and distribution. People forget that. They think they're just standing in a studio and they're getting paid for sort of the time to record. You know, if it's a commercial, if it's going to bring money back to them directly, you know, you're going to sell something, a commercial. You're the voice of that particular company, and you're selling something for them. So every time you appear, you're performing. You're not there in person, but you're performing. So you need to be paid for that distribution and money they're making off of your talent. So even if it's a buyout, build into it money for the distribution, so to speak. You know, if you're non-union and you can't get residuals, you know, raise the rates or just make it two separate things. Here's my rate for doing the session. Here's my rate for you guys using my talent on the radio, on television, in the movies, theaters, wherever. And that's probably a good thing. Yeah.
That's great. And everywhere you guys see rate postings, you're going to see the variations of all the industry. Anthony, what do you think?
She actually wrote back in, Teresa wrote back in and said, I think I'm confused with my question I asked, the way I asked it. I'm actually talking about cartoons and games and animation versus broadcast rate. Are they different and should we charge differently? I think what we're saying is in general, the distribution, your studio fees and all that come into what your rate sheet is and what your hourly rate is. But yes, you should charge because sometimes a client will pay based upon the genre differently. For example, long form narration and audiobooks and all those, like the old school way still is by the word. Broadcasts are by the spot or by the 30 or 60-second broadcasts or 7 or 15 or whatever the length is of the spot. Like Deb was saying, local versus regional versus national versus wild card versus a buyout versus what we're going to talk about in the next block, actually, what buyout question was. But I think that cartoon and gaming and animation, now remember, we're talking about non-union people, are typically charged sometimes by the line, or they'll actually for a rate based on how many lines your role has. Most roles in gaming, cartooning, and animation are short and sweet. Hey, get out of that tree. You know, what's the matter with you? Are you kidding me? They're short little 3-second one-liners. So you can blast out 40, 50, 60 of those easily in an hour. It takes you maybe an hour and a half. So I think what Teresa, you're asking is a really good question, because people think that you can offer one rate. This is my rate for this is it, period. And it really is dependent upon the genre, like you asked, cartoon and gaming, character voice work, or narration, or imaging, even imaging, broadcast station narration, imaging, promo work and stuff. A lot of times they're charged by, 16-point double spaced, one page by page rate, depending on. They'll also ask you for a monthly retainer for X number of pages a month of promos or liners and whatever have you. So a lot of the individual genres are definitely a little bit different than one another. Your goal is to find out, again, coming back to the productivity, how much can I put out? I have a shovel. How many holes can I dig in the hour? You don't care what's going in the hole. It's a rose, or if it's a this, or a carnation, or a tree, or whatever. Your point is you're digging holes with that shovel. So how long does it take me to put out each particular project based upon my hourly rate that I want to be my hourly rate, based on, again, like Deb and everybody's hitting on, what's the end use? Is it going to a game, animation? Is it a for-profit and non-profit type of thing? Is it a pilot? Is it a non-broadcast? Is it a gateway only internet ad? Is it a telephone messaging, which are dirt cheap these days? So I don't know. That's kind of my thought.
If we just go back to, just because she's clarified, to the animation versus different styles of animation, gaming. Yeah. Gaming is completely different than animation. I think gaming is very undervalued, to be honest. Now, when you get into some big A-rate games, they're valued decently. Because they've got buyouts and distributions. I'm going to go back to what I said again, because the buyouts and distributions are what make the animation and gaming rate a little different.
That's right.
I believe you should always have a session fee for animation and gaming, your session. That's what it costs you to just have me there. Now, Is this a small indie? Is this a bigger indie? How, again, distribution is what's going to change how much I'm going to charge you above and beyond that. Just like in commercial, you've got a solid session fee, and then how much I'm going to charge you based on that. Or if it's toys, how much units are you purchasing? So there's a million things that have to go into account. So the answer is there's a lot of variety. Stacy, you had your hand up. What were you going to say?
One kind of weird little gray area, for that is that some people don't know what their usage is because maybe they have a film or something, and then they're going to go to take it to film festivals. You know what I mean? Or a documentary. I found
that's why you own it for a length of time, right?
That's right.
So that's why you do the contract for a length of time instead of like
Put that stipulation in
bio.
there.
That's the other thing. That's a great point, Stacy. You have to be so careful of, did you give this permission to own this for life? And if you did, this is where the union comes and shakes their head at you and going, what are you thinking? This suddenly went to, The Simpsons, became massive. It was just supposed to be a little tiny interstitial. It wasn't supposed to be that big. So
that's why it's so important. And Stacy brought up, you hit gold right there, because I'm sure the listeners out there, watchers, hi y'all, are thinking that as probably Teresa is it, right? Is it Teresa? Yes, Teresa is, because a lot of people don't put into consideration that that's why you work for hire agreement. That's why you want some kind of hey, my use agreement. Here's my license agreement. If they don't supply you with one and you don't have a legal team review it, supply your own work for hire. And this is what I'm doing. This is what you're doing. But this is the limit license clause, and have a couple lines that say for this title, this project only, for internet use only, for regional pitching at MIPCOM or whatever have you. You don't give them full license buyout for eternity and back and beyond, because people will take advantage of you out there.
You got to be careful out there. Bev, did you want to say anything before I take us to the Audition Underground?
No, and only because I really don't do a whole lot of animation, so I can't add anything other than you've already added.
Get it? Yeah,
Awesome
of course,
stuff.
absolutely. Tracy,
Hey,
you want to add something there?
Yeah, exactly. Want to see if Tracy or Pamela or Steve
Very
want to
quickly,
chime in?
I just want to mention NAVA has a scope of work agreement that will be of use to anyone who's getting started in the industry, needs to protect themselves, doesn't necessarily have the money for a legal team, but at least it's something. It's a document. And you really have to add it. You have to act like you're a business person.
Nice. Is that in the same area of the rider? Do you know where that's at in the website?
I think it was a
workers
document
agreement.
that yes,
It's the work for hire agreement, right?
I've used it from the Nava site before.
It's the same work for hire agreement. It's really good to have that template. So we're grateful that they've done that. And there's a few companies that have done that as well, guys. So just be careful and understand, yes, there's a difference, but you've got to know the outcome. And like Stacy said, they might not know it. So you've got to protect yourself.
Now, does anybody know, like I asked, where that's actually at in Nava, or you just go to a website? You can find it right in what area of the site?
There's probably a search bar that you can write in scope of work.
Okay.
And also, if you don't find your narration rate on the GVAA, go to like a SAG website. They have rates. So compare and see. They have a vaster range, just like ACTRA does.
And then just keep in mind that they sometimes double, triple, quadruple those scales for more higher end talent. That's why you'll see some lower rates, because I find I get the exact same rate as Union does. It's just the buyouts are different completely. Stacey, do you want to say something before we go?
Yeah, on the Nava site, it's under resources.
Awesome.
There you go. Excellent. Awesome.
Why don't we go to the Audition Underground, because we have Lawrence Brisky Amico is going to audition for us today. What is he auditioning? I would love to know so I can follow along.
This week's Underground Audition is brought to you by...
I'm Stacey Barrow, and I'm the imaging voice here on VO Radio, as well as a feature contributor. My feature is Top of Mind, where I talk about what's top of mind for those who are new to VO. I do all different types of voiceover, and I'm also bilingual in English and Spanish. I truly love all things voiceover, and I definitely love to talk about it. So reach out to me anytime here at VO Radio Online, or you can also find me at voiceoversbystacy.com.
Hello, VO Radio. This is Rob Darling, aspiring voiceover artist. You have blazed your path, and now to come back, illuminate that path, and help the rest of us navigate it is just spectacular, and I can't thank you enough for that. So your time is definitely not wasted, and I appreciate all the time that you guys do put in, and I can't say thank you enough, so one more time we'll have to do. Thank you.
Every voiceover talent, from beginners to intermediate to veterans, want to have feedback on their audition. This can be a very costly endeavor. VO Radio has just the solution with our Audition Underground. Here's another voiceover talent brave enough to enter the Audition Underground zone on VO Radio.
All right. Why don't you tell them what they need to do here, Miss Deb?
Well, all you guys need to do if you want to participate is go on to either the website or the app, and you go into the listener section and click on participate. When you scroll down, you're going to see 3 scripts there, and they change out each month. So we've got a more broadcast type script, so a little more corporate-ish, if you will, or commercial. Then we've got the narration category and the gaming category this time. So you guys can try on your auditions, and then we give you a live critiquing on the show, just doing our best to help give you some constructive criticism that will hopefully, and encouragement, obviously, to help you grow a little bit for free right here on VO Radio.
Got it. Okay. So here he goes. This is Lawrence Brisky.
Crystal clear gasoline, refined for cars that benefit from premium gasoline. We spend hundreds of hours in the lab to ensure your engine burns only the best quality fuel product from the tank to the fuel injectors. Amoco Ultimate. You should and can expect more from a leader.
Excellent. Really good. And Lawrence had joined us the last VO2B as well as the VO2B before that, and he was shaking in his pants. He was like, I can't believe you're going to be doing me next week. Oh my God, I hope I did all right. He was thinking about recutting and sending us, and he decided, no, I'm going to go with what we did here. So Bev, why don't you start us out this time around?
I loved your pace. I thought they asked for slower. You gave us slower. And that's sometimes really hard to do. So thumbs up on that one. My one negative, I'll give you a positive and a negative. The negative, what I heard was when you said crystal clear gasoline, you kind of went crystal clear gasoline.
Yeah, beat it out. Yeah.
I'm not too thrilled about what I'm going to talk about. So those first few words have to let me know whether you like it or not. And I didn't hear that you liked what you were about to talk about. But I'm sure other people have other things to say. But overall, I liked it.
Excellent. Deb Monroe.
Yeah, you know what? I love how there's a really confident quirk about you in the spot. So I appreciate that you're either trying to throw it away or you're being a little bit yourself. I'm not sure which, even though I just got to know you just the other day. I didn't quite hear you in this way. So my theory is that you've tried to throw it away a little bit. And I actually love you in the thrown away place for the right spot. I don't think this is the right spot to throw it away as much, because what happens is, just as Bev had pointed out, you actually sound bored with the product. And there's a difference between confidence and boredom. And I think a lot of people have a fine line. For those of you that are learning how to be more, less is more in your read, which is a big journey for me, trust me. For learning how to be less is more, it's probably obvious. When you're learning less is more is it comes from a place of confidence. And you have it. There's a cocky confidence in there, which I love. And I agree with that. The pacing is really great. But the problem is it can't come across as, it's a fine line between arrogance or boredom. And the client wants everybody to buy the product. You're trying to make the product sound easy. It's just this easy. I'm throwing it away. Everybody wants that thrown away read that doesn't have much to it. And you're really close. Oh, but for the right spot, I would want you to read that way. Oh my God, I would absolutely love it, to be honest. I would absolutely love it. I would want to play with it a little bit, direct a little bit. It was a little, just play with it a little bit, but some really nice stuff in there. Just the right spot, for the right spot though.
Right on, Lawrence. There you go, man. Hey, we got a few more, little more feedback coming at you. I think what I'm hearing Deb say in the thrown away phrase, and I've never heard that, but I like that, I'm gonna steal that, is throw it away. It's kind of like a lot of my students run into when they say what they want to do, a casual conversational feel. They see that as, sometimes they equate that with boredom. Sometimes they equate that with laid back and not really salesy or not really pitchy. And actually what you're doing is you're taking away from your effect after being casual and conversational. You're throwing it away too much is a great way to rip off what Bev just says. Or Deb just said, I think that's great. I'd never heard that phrase, throw it away. So that's something that definitely you want to take home for that. Stacy Barrow, what do you think?
I love the term throw it away, because it just becomes so obvious what you're doing to it. Yeah, I loved your pacing. I love that throw it away feel. But yet I heard your keywords, and there was almost like a little hesitation. And as Anthony always says, never let them see you sweat. So here you are throwing it away, but when it came to the keywords, it was just like a little bit, it was almost unnatural because you're throwing it away, and I don't think you would have said it like that. And just that little lilt to your voice, like everyone said, a bit of boredom, but just that little lilt to your voice that lost me a little bit, to where I didn't know if I liked this product or if I was going to space out or not in the middle of the audition. You know what I mean? Only because that little lilt. But your pace was great, and I love your voice. So these are just like tiny little nuances.
Hey, Stacy, when you say a keyword, do you mean dynamic words?
The
Are you
one that
kind of
stands out-
digitizing in the 21st century with keyword meaning dynamics, or what do you mean by that? Expand on that.
The word can in the audition, like there was this very slight hesitation, and can was emphasized.
Oh, so you can demand more. You can.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But since it was also a throwaway, that can stood out like
Oh,
so
I
much
see.
more than the rest to me, like a tiny, tiny, tiny little hesitation, and then can, it was almost a
So
little
it's called billboarding, right? That's when you
Billboarding.
billboard something. You're
Billboard
billboarding.
hmm So
Peter,
it
what do you
was,
think, Peter?
I think maybe the key to the throwaway is a feeling of it's obvious. It's obvious. And so if you throw it away with that, come on, everybody knows this, you're going to have that comment. It's like, we have the best gasoline in town, it's
It's a given.
it's a given, so maybe that's the key. Is it's obvious to everybody, and when you say it, they're going to understand. Yeah, that's right.
I've always worded it as this because I've had to work on it a lot because I am a peppy person, as you can tell. So I have to actually literally shrug my shoulders every single time. And I have to go, I don't have to prove it to you.
Right.
You can take it or not. But it's that good and you'll want it. And when you really love something, you actually don't need to beg anyone to buy it. If they don't, that's their problem. They're
Right.
missing out on something. But I also think Lawrence is quirky. And so
Yeah.
he's bringing a bit of his quirky in there. And so there'll be some fun things to play with there.
Yeah, I think that what I really like about him most is he sounds very modern. He sounds very PC Mac guy next door, relatable, user friendly. We say he sounds very much like he's not trying to sell you. He's just trying to tell you what he wants you to know. And he doesn't sound like Mike Give a Damn's busted. The song, the country song from back in the day. Mike Give a Damn's busted. I don't give a crap. If you like it or you don't, take it or leave it. I think he brings across to me a very modern, middle-aged 30-something sound, and I personally like that. Peter, final comment
I was
before you.
just going to say when the audition first started, I was really surprised because we had him on, and
Yeah.
he didn't really have that
all.
feel at all. And then it was like, oh, this is cool. How did he do that? Yeah, he just transformed into this guy. So
this guy, man.
This guy. He's just a
Pamela, what do you think? Steve, you want to chime in? Tracy, go with it. Any thoughts from any of you?
He definitely, I could listen to him read the phone book, really.
Right.
That's just me. That's just me. But
Nice.
I do feel that there was kind of, it broke, the flow kind of broke halfway through. Like he was able to hit a lot of key things, but the energy and the flow
Oh, bottomed up.
wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
And because it is a very fine line to walk between,
Right.
just having that,
Right.
and you have to really, it's not something that you can just throw away, but
Right.
absolutely. Call
Well
me.
said. It's funny that I was thinking that along the way. I don't know if you were Bev or Deb as well, but I was thinking along the way, he kind of felt like he kind of went down into that valley a bit and then came back out of it. But really, I always tell all the students and any of you out there listening, start strong, finish strong. You always want to think of your delivery as bookends, call to action, all that stuff at the end. You want to finish strong. You start out the gate, but you don't peter out. You right angle out and tailor out. You can go all the way, taper out and go all the way to the end. Bev, Standing, what is your thought?
I just want to say one other thing, and that's it. He did have an opinion, and it developed from the start to the end. And you could see the opinion of his words change and improve. And by the end, and I think if you had gone to the end and then read that first part again, I think you'd have been able to like copy and paste that in kind of thing.
Nice.
And I think you just kind of, because you got there, you just weren't there in the first few words.
All right. Start and finish strong. Steve, what do you think, man?
Well, I don't want to just add just for adding's sake. You guys are amazing.
Nice.
Like the joke I just kind of put in there. Sounds like you guys know what you're talking about, right?
We should do this for a living.
Right, right.
No, man, it's no joke.
No joke.
Don't tell him, man.
Good stuff. Pamela, any thought about that? Did you take away
Cameron
anything
just
from all of
wanted to
this
observe.
feedback?
She wanted to observe for now.
Yeah. No, you want to throw back what you took away from that, maybe yourself as a talent?
Observe and Dan.
Honestly, you guys covered everything. I would just be repeating the exact same thing that I would have added anyway. So.
Good stuff.
So, yeah,
Good stuff.
Great stuff.
Excellent.
Break, Anthony.
Excellent. All right, let's go for it. We'll be back in just a minute. Peter's going to bring us back with a question from Bennett, and we're going to play that Who's That Voice in the next block. So stick around.
This week's TNVO News Minute is brought to you by...
Hi, Peter Drew here, professional blabbermouth for several decades. I'm a seasoned voice actor and VO coach, which means I'm not quite old as dirt, but I've been around the block a few times. So whether you've got a face made for radio, like me, or you're one of the beautiful people, if you have a voice and you want to learn how to use it as a voice actor, check out Hot Mic here on VO Radio. You can connect with me at peter@peterdrewvo.com.
This is Christy Bowen with the Tennessee VoiceOver Studios News Minute. As we welcome in a new year, the big news dominating the voiceover industry are the LA fires and the amazing relief efforts by our community. The Nava Foundation has set up a CAL FIRE Relief Fund that is collecting donations to help those in need. Other groups from around the country have also set up equipment donation drives, offered discounted or free recording spaces, and so much more. Please help if you can. Voice actors are sounding the alarm that a site called 101 Soundboards is using unauthorized AI versions of their voices without consent, compensation, or control. This egregious behavior underscores the need for federal protections of our voices. NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, is working on the issue on behalf of our industry. VO Atlanta has released the schedule for the March 20th through 23rd conference taking place at the Hilton Atlanta Airport again this year. As of January 18th, small group X sessions will also be available for purchase. This year's keynote speaker is Amari Williams. This has been your VO Radio Online News Minute brought to you by Tennessee VoiceOver Studios. To find out more about classes, demo production, and private coaching, visit our website, tnvoiceoverstudios.com.
VoiceOverCollective.com. Make sure you book that website, because since 2011, it has been helping voice actors much like yourself navigate our industry. And there's a boatload of info on that website. But what you may not know is that the front page is updated every single month throughout the year, often with exclusive discounts that can only be found there. The VOC newsletter is only released when important updates need to go out. So why don't you set sail with the VoiceOver Collective today?
Internet radio for voiceover talent at any level.
Have you done it yet? Downloaded the new VO Radio app? If not, check out the new apps we created that are now for iPhone and Android.
I'm sorry, operator, I can't hear you. I'm trying to use the phone!
Now you can listen to VO Radio anytime, 24/7 worldwide on your phone.
Are you not entertained?
Download the new VO Radio app from our app section of the website.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Or click on the app link located on the player window, VO Radio apps. They're here for you. Download yours today.
Whether a beginner or veteran voice talent, there's something for everyone. This is VO Radio. Let's talk VO live on VO Radio. Interact with the show by texting 970-682-3424 or email your question to the show using the app email icon, radio player window, ask a question button, or send an email to ask@voradioonline.com. Let's talk VO live on VO Radio. It's here for you.
Welcome back. Let's talk VO on VO Radio. We're not only in your ears, we're in your eyes now.
It's true. It's true.
Maybe
We're
you
in
should
your
put some
face.
sunglasses. Put your sunglasses on. It's just
We're
so
in your
dazzling.
face. Hello.
In your face. It's so dazzling. But we welcome you to join us here. We have our text Number 970-682-3424. It's 970-682-3424. Or you can contact us by email, of course, ask@voradioonline.com. And coming up on Wednesday, we have a VIP guest, Jessica Blue. And Jessica is very accomplished, a screen actor. She does English dubbing, adapts, casts voice actors, and directs projects for major streaming services. She's a writer. She wrote her first book in 2008, and she's got all kinds of credits. I mean, TJ Maxx, these are all commercials. TJ Maxx, Macy's, Oracle, John Deere, of all things.
Hulu
Tractors.
and- yeah.
Very, very, very versatile. So she'll be coming up on Wednesday on that issue, that edition of Let's Talk VO. So let's move on to our next listener email. It's from Bennett. The question is, are most projects at a full buyout for non-union voice work? Are projects, most of them at a full buyout for non-union voice work? So who would like to take that?
A lot of hands went up on that one. Stacy, run with it.
Okay. Well, one, I want to say that I got to meet Jessica Blue at Silvas, and that was so nice. And she was so friendly. And I took a workshop with her and this and that. And I actually got to be her +1 to go into the event. She was super cool and super nice. And I can't wait for her to come to the show. And to answer this question, I want to be honest. I don't know. That's what I want to say to everybody. Like, I don't know. I don't think so. But like, it's this buyouts are kind of like this weird thing that I don't know that much about. And that's why I'm so glad to be part of this panel. What do you think, Deb?
Listen, first of all, it's a really loaded question. You're saying are most projects, so you're saying majority of full buyout, but the full majority of projects are really narration and then commercial. Like narration is a big chunk of what most voice actors do. Like it used to be 85% of the market was like corporate narration mostly. And so they don't have buyouts for that. As I was kind of alluding to earlier in this hour about with narrations, they don't make money off of airing it for their tutorials. People are forced to take these tutorials. They have to watch it. They just don't want to have to voice it over and over and over again or have to reteach it over and over again. So that's why they go to us. It's not like it needs to be some fancy school that you've gone to, really, to be honest. You just have to be a good oral reader to bring copy to life for the most part within reason. And so they don't have really buyouts for that kind of category, which becomes the majority of the industry. So that's where I say it's a loaded question. Now, if I can kind of just tweak your question a little bit, instead of saying most projects, there are a lot of full buyouts for non-union voice work. You're going to see it mostly in animation, gaming, and commercial. So that's what you need to be looking for. And you need to be paying attention because, as we were also again alluding to earlier, is you have to be careful what you buy into as a full buyout, because what does that mean? How long is that for? So what is a full buyout becomes we own it forever. So you got to be careful with that. So make sure you're protecting yourself with the increments of time. That's what we do when we are in the union and we are in a higher scales, is we say, okay, you can own this for blah, blah, blah amount of time. And then if you want to redo it again, then you have to pay me that again. And that's that buyout. And we want those buyouts because we don't make much on our sessions, guys. It's not our sessions that we make good money on. It's the buyouts. It's the usage of all these projects. Bev, what do you think?
Well, that's
I do mostly non-union work. So when I started out, I didn't even know what this was. I think now it's much more in the forefront because of AI and whatnot, and we're much more aware of it. Buyouts for non-broadcast are much more common. Like Deb said, for training, for e-learning, for corporate websites, where you're not really having any competition. For commercials, TV and radio, I've never done buyouts. They're for, 13 weeks, 3 months, a year, whatever, but they're never buyouts when they're broadcast. And I don't believe they should be. I think you have to protect yourself and don't hesitate to tell your client that. I understand you want a buyout, but if I get hired by your competitor, I have to say no because non-competes. So I need a time. So don't do buyouts. Give a usage. In Europe, usage is the common term. You don't just sell your work. Everything is based on usage. And I believe it should be more so that way here. So if you're seeing things that are buyouts, be cautious and introduce the fact that, hey, I understand you want to have this for 2 years or 5 years. I need a time frame. I need some sort of time frame. Buyouts are often brought into the picture because your client doesn't want to deal with it. They want to do something and say, well, I just want it on my website forever. Once it's forever, folks. So if you ever want to compete with yourself, try and lose the buyout phrase if you can. And it doesn't have to be.
Interesting. And it's just an interesting discussion we're having here, because I understand from a union perspective, nothing's a buyout. You always have the union rules that apply to it. But I found after a lifetime playing with our left union many, many years ago, being in the non-union world, that's pretty more common than everybody thinks, I think, out there, especially in the broadcast stuff. A client may want to pay you for a buyout, meaning they don't even mention the word buyout, and a talent would do a 30-second radio ad. That client will run that ad for potentially a year sometimes. I mean, I know back in the day, I had clients that they wouldn't even work with us unless we offered them full ownership and buyout rights. But you're right. But the whole point of depending on if it's a narration or training or something that is a disposable type of product, or a video for their ad for their or their web or for their YouTube channel, whatever. Yeah, then it's pretty much you get what you get. But the catch is, you want to charge them more. If they're not willing to pay you more to own the buyout of the content, then you want to charge them more. If not, chances are that I found that clients will walk away and they'll go to somebody who's willing to give them projects. So it is one of those kind of catch-22 personal decision things, taster's choice, using the old slogan. The reality is when you're in a non-union world and you're in a broadcast, I don't remember hardly anybody. I did lots of commercials back in the day, even as recent as several years ago, that would limit themselves to a 7-week or 13-week buy or a radio ad buy for 26 weeks and then have to pay the talent additional fees over. I didn't run into that very often. If you're working with a union or you're doing an international ad, that's a different story. But I found that most broadcasts, local broadcast or regional broadcast stuff, were this is what I got, this is what you want, this is what we need, this is what we want to do, and take it or leave it. If not, I got somebody else I can call. And that kind of, unfortunately, is the name of the game out there. But
I think you hit the key word there. It's local.
I like your point of views on this for sure.
You said local and regional there,
Yeah.
Anthony. And I think that's the difference. The nationals are buyouts, and a lot of them
Right.
want buyouts.
Yeah, for
And your
sure.
agents have to fight so that. And
Totally
I thought that
different
was
ballgame, yeah.
very clever to word it as understand a difference between a usage and a buyout as well. I think
Right.
that's
Really cool. And, the question was, are most projects at full buyout for non-union voice work? How would we break that down? Bev, I think you hit it pretty good. Narration stuff and online. I think it has a lot to do with what the usage, like Deb was just saying, right? If it's a broadcast commercial, or even an animation or gaming, if somebody's doing a webisode series animation, like years ago, I did Toilet Puck and stuff like that for just a web only type of stuff. They're typically working with very small budgets. It's internet only. It's a different ballgame than somebody who's trying to go to MIPCOM, pitch it, get a deal with your non-union tracks.
It's going to change.
Yeah,
It's going to change.
Internet only.
Right.
Think about that just for, it's only on the internet.
International. It's the
Yep,
most global you could be. And they treat it like it's
Satellite, right.
local. It's gross. Stacy, what were you going to say?
Well,
Bennett, yeah, hit a good
what
question
about
here,
for,
Bennett.
Video games, for example. Like I work with several ones that, they're hoping it'll be big. Will it go anywhere? I don't know. But usage, how are
Right.
you supposed to
You
even
can't.
determine that?
Deb was hitting that earlier, and this
Uh-huh.
comes to your point here. I want to throw this in. Deb hit it on the head earlier. Back in the day, when I used to do Franklin Sports and their hoops and a lot of other sounds for the different ha's and stuff, they would buy 50,000 units. The license was for 50,000 units. And then every 50,000 units that they manufacture, they have to pay another fee, a unit fee or a distribution fee. Those days with video games, it's very difficult because not only is it good faith, how do you police that and control that? But if they're going to pay you $3,800 and they want ownership of that video game who's to say when that game becomes popular overseas? How do you ever know? How do you ever track that? So that's a good point you're running with there.
Well, the union makes sure it's tracked, and they don't go union unless they do because they contract it. Peter, what were you going to say? And then
well, I interrupted Stacy. Let me let Stacy finish there real quick. I'm sorry. That's all right.
Wow, you guys are nice. No, it seems like a very fuzzy area to me because they're small potatoes until possibly they're not. There's one particular game that is small and we collaborated and it's on a whole bunch of wish lists on Steam. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I get it's a funny call. And then it's totally non-union. So I guess it's case by case.
They'll always take advantage if they can.
Yeah, they will. He said that.
How about you, Peter?
I was just going to mention there are some non-union production houses that will look to get you residuals. They'll look to do a buyout for 7 weeks.
If they're ethical.
13 weeks. If they're ethical. And they're out there, but they're not all that common. And as everybody said, they'll take what they can. Yeah. But
and it has a lot to do with casting. It has a lot to do with Peter. This has a lot to do with, are you being cast by Deb Monroe or Anthony Reese or ethical casting directors?
Right,
we always look out for the talent. We always have the talents back. I've had problems with quite a few of my clients over the years where they wanted to try to take advantage of my cast, and they thought that they could schmooze me by throwing me an extra couple $1,000s, and I would just shit all over my cast. And I would I don't think so. My cast and my talent, I'm a talent's talent. So if you're going to be ethical and you're going to try to play that with me, then guess what? You just lost not only me, but you lost the entire cast. So if they're ethical, whether they're a casting director, a voice director, an agent, or someone, they're going to have R6s, as they say in the military, So I don't know. That's just a thought out there for the viewers to run with. Awesome. What do you think? Anybody got any final thoughts on that comment? Because that's definitely a question that has a lot of, we could sit here for 2 hours on that one. Wow.
Caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or CYA. Cover your bleep.
I would like to add that if you do a broadcast spot, once it's hit the air, feel free to share it with your friends and family. I've been renewed 3 times because this last time my son said, Mom, you still doing that spot? I just saw it on.
I heard your ad, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, yes, here's your $4,000. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So effective.
That is really cool.
Your contest.
Have your friends around the country have your back. Yeah, for sure. Hey, let's do that. What do you think? Let's go for the Who's That Voice I think you're talking about here.
This week's Who's That Voice is sponsored by
Street Smart Coaching.
That's what you get at VO 101.
Hi, I'm Anthony Reese, 35-year veteran, casting director, producer, and voiceover coach here at VO 101.
Whether a beginner or veteran voice talent,
you'll find everything you need to get your career started or take your career to the next level. Training, website design, YouTube channel creation, voiceover demos, video demos, a free evaluation, and even a free training area.
Get Street Smart Coaching at VO 101.
That's VO101.com.
VO101.com.
Who's that voice?
I beg your pardon.
Do you have a knack for knowing a voice? Can you recognize a voice with your eyes closed?
Oh, I just rescued a tiger.
VO Radio wants to give you a chance to win free coaching, online courses, and other great stuff.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Listen to Let's Talk VO and VO2B for the weekly voice of the day.
There's a secret mission.
Then fill out the Who's That Voice contest entry, and you'll be added into our weekly drawing on the Let's Talk VO Live the following Monday.
I think that I've lived like 3 lives.
Now let's test your ability to recognize a voice with this week's Who's That Voice?
Okay, so how you can participate in Who's That Voice, just go to the Listeners tab and go down to Contests, and you'll see it there, and submit your answer to who you think is that voice. And this is such a fun contest, and this replaces Name That Tune. And this is neat because, there's so many cool voices, and sometimes it's on the tip of your tongue, and you're like, who is that? Oh my goodness. And what you can win for this one, you can win the intermediate course for Anthony Reese's expertise at VO101.com. So let's hear it.
All right, put your ears on. Here we go. Let's see what we got.
I've been around for a while. Met some interesting people. Done some crazy things. So you just might think that there's not much that can take me by surprise. You'd be wrong. The world is full of stories, science, and things that amaze and that confound me. Every single day, incredible mysteries that keep me awake at night. Some I can answer. Others just defy logic.
Oh my God. I mean, really?
So good. So good.
Can we make it any easier? Come on. All right, people. If I'll tell you, if you don't know who that is, like the one last week, the one before that, and they crawl out from the rock, man, that is such a unique stand-up voice. And Deb Monroe hit me up with an idea a couple weeks ago. We had to pick up the first 10 voices or 8 voices. We got a whole new batch coming up for next week forward, and these are going to be a little bit challenging because they're going to be a little bit more animation, movie and commercials and things that are a little bit difficult. You're going to really have to have your training ears on, so to say. So tell them again what to do, Stacy. Let's wrap it up.
Okay. Again, all you have to do is go to the VO Radio website and go to the listeners tab, scroll down to contests, and fill out your form with who you think that sound is. Who's that voice?
Who's that voice? Hey, there you go. Our first ever simulcast. Let's give everybody a wave and a hey, thank you for watching. All that fun stuff. Awesome.
That was so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. And the VO2B went well. We had a couple glitches too, like we did at the very beginning of this one, but it smoothed out once the board op guy got his act together. But VO2B is simulcast over the broadcast platform every Friday, 11 a.m. Now Monday and Wednesday coming up with Jessica Blue. We're going to be broadcasting in reverse through the Broadcast Radio Network, as well as all of you out there watching on Tubi. And you can listen and or watch it on demand the following week or within 24 hours, typically on YouTube. So, hey, great show. I want to thank Tracy for being here, Steve for being here, and Pamela for being here. I think she had a bail. Thank you so much for being part of the Zooming In and being part of our experience here with us. We're going to go around the horn and wrap things like we always do, starting with Deb Monroe.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. It's great to be on camera. Except now I gotta, remember that. Anyway, we actually have a workshop coming up for Get Mike next week, not this week, but next Wednesday for a commercial workshop, all about auditioning for commercials. So make sure and join us. We will only have a couple this year, so hopefully you guys can tune in to that one next Wednesday. Go to getmiked, MICD.com, and we'll take care of you right there.
Awesome.
I hope
great.
everybody has a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys Wednesday, I hope.
Yep. Hey, and I heard a rumor. Are you also going to be at VO Atlanta this year?
I am. I'm doing a tiny little panel and or a breakout session, I guess it would be called. Sorry, I better get to learn the terminology. And I will be there rocking my socks off. I can't wait.
It's going to be exciting. Really cool. All right, let's go with Bev Standing. What's your final thoughts today?
I'm also going to be at VO Atlanta. I'm doing a breakout session kind of thing. I'm also doing a next session, and I'm going to tell you there is one spot left, and that is it. And it is for corporate narration. As I said earlier, most of my income comes from and started there and got me going and got me the training and the equipment. So it's a great place to land. Love to see the room filled with a whopping 12 people. That's it. That's all that gets to come in. So I'm excited about that. You can also find me on Gravy for the Brain. If you ever join Gravy for the Brain, I mentor there on a regular basis. We're doing a thing tonight called Triplets, which is absolutely hysterical. You have the same script, 3 people, and they all have to read it differently. And you don't have much time, but you've got to find that different read. You got to think outside of the box, and you don't have a whole lot of direction. It's like, I know you thought you were going to read it this way, but the director went no. So we have fun with that one. I think our students love it. Guys, just keep learning, keep sharing, keep asking questions, and we love to see you here. And now you can see us here, and I will promise to not mute next time.
Excellent. Very good. Peter Drew, why don't you give us your final thoughts?
I'm just echoing what everybody else said. Keep studying, keep getting the coaching. The business side is very important, obviously, and trying to figure all that stuff out. The more you read, the more you listen, the more you ask questions, the better. And again, it's the old Pareto principle, 80-20. 80% of the job is getting the job, and 20% is having fun doing it. That's the reward you get. That's the fun part of the job. So, and that's basically what comes down to. Keep having fun. Just
awesome.
Life's hard. Keep having
well
fun.
Said. Awesome. Stacey Barrow, final thoughts. We'll wrap up.
Okay. And you know what? Life is not about being perfect. It's just about putting yourself out there, just like we're doing on VO Radio right now, live, every single show, and Tubi and everything else that we do. And it's about finding yourself muted. You know, it's about just winging it, you know, trying to do things on the fly and, you know, improving and everything else, but being real. And we're here to show you that at no matter what level that you're at, we all feel the same way and we all are putting ourselves out there. So if you're a veteran or 4 years in like me, or you're brand spanking new, we're all in the same situation doing all the same funny things. So don't hesitate to put yourself out there. Do it.
Nice said. Well said. Hey, Steve, any last thoughts, or Tracy, the one of you?
Sure, I'd like to throw a little 2 cents, 2 cents in there. It's just knowing your worth and price accordingly. So yeah.
Nice. Nicely said. I hope everybody out there heard that for sure. Tracy?
Beautifully said. Steve said it perfectly. And I just think that this is the best resource, free resource for anything and everything to do with VO. So anyone who just wants to get in can garner so much knowledge just by tuning in.
Well said. Thank you so much for saying that. Hey, there you go. Another live Let's Talk VO and simulcast over our VO2B YouTube channel. You got to check it out Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have Jessica Blue, as you heard earlier, joining in. Make sure to listen to the broadcast encore presentation tomorrow at 5 p.m. and then the live show Wednesday, and then the encore of that on Thursday, and then VO2B again at 11 a.m. on Friday. With that said, make sure to check out the website. Make sure to check out the Weekend Power podcasts that are going really well. People are enjoying those. And with that said, thanks for tuning in. We shall see everybody again soon. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.